Hello YouTube and welcome to another review, and this time we have Waterloo 1815s Italian Infantry 1940 to 1943 El Alamein set, and this is a 132 set and quite a good looking set it is too. Brief history: 1940 Italy invades Egypt with 4 divisions. By 1941 they were in full retreat and the British capture about 130,000 prisoners, and by 1943 the Axis defeat in North Africa was pretty much complete and the remaining Italian forces and German forces all surrendered. This kit came out in about 2004, that's about as best guess as I can make. It is written on the box, so that's what I'm going to run with on this set. Price is upwards of £10, so it's not exactly cheap, but not many of these sets around that would cover the Italian troops in North Africa. So we've got a few 8th Army sets, a few as in 2 that I know straight off the top of my head. But not many in the way of Italian sets, and these are very important. What we do have in the box is 12 figures with 6 poses. Box number is number AP016. Nice box art as well. It's a really happening scene. Quite like what I'm seeing with the box art. It is quite good. The 172 set of the same does directly transcend with the poses on this. The box art is slightly different. Like I say, really happening here. We've got a guy throwing a grenade, we've got the officer, we've got our guy firing his submachine gun, the other guys with carbines, and of course we've got our MG up the top there. So pretty much what you see on the box is what you're going to get, which is quite good. So turning the box over, we have a picture of, which is not actual size, we do have a picture of an Italian soldier taking aim with a rifle shot. That gives you a slight bit of a paint guide, but nothing much, it's nothing exciting. You will have to check any military history books for the exact requirements regarding the uniform, but certainly it's useful enough. 12 pieces as it says on the back, and it gives you a full list of the 172 sets and a full list of the 132 scale sets. So you can see the 172 sets are quite extensive. In fact, I think I did review one of those already in 172, which would be the Italian cannon, which is part of the Italieri Battle of El Alamein set 172. So I think that should be in there. I think that was made by Waterloo, and then Italieri used it in their kit, in their battle set. I believe I've already reviewed one of these. I think it was a paratroop set. So yeah, pretty basic, made in Italy. And the only issues I have with that is obviously Waterloo, the actual name. It can be a bit confusing when you Google that, so just take care on that one. Usual information on the side of the box, which is contains small parts, children 12 and under, must be under adult supervision, choking hazards, you know, usual stuff, so no problem there. That gives you an image of the butt end of the box. So like I say, it's got the set number there and exactly what it is, plus the scale at 132 and the manufacturer. So we'll go straight in with our sprues. And here we go, we've got our guy throwing a grenade, we've got our guy kneeling down firing, and we've got another guy with a rifle taking a shot, another guy with his Beretta Model 38 submachine gun. Uniform wise, I believe we've got the helmet, which is the M1933 steel helmet. They're using the M1940 shirt with 3 buttons, which was standard for that time. We probably have the M1912 hobnail boots, although the officer you'll see is wearing the long boots, which were pretty much used in the Abyssinian campaign just prior to the invasion of Egypt. One of the soldiers there taking a shot is wearing a type of fez, which was linked to units of the fascist party, which did do quite well out in the desert. I think they did have a few successful battles with the British. He's sort of a bit of an obscure pose. He's looking over the top of the rifle. He's not really taking aim, so whether he's picking his shot, I don't know. They're all carrying water bottles, of course, and I'll flip this over in a minute. I believe we've got Kakano 1938 carbine, and I think these are what the troops are all using. That's what I would imagine that is. I've had a little look and I think that's what it is. Here we have our chap with the cockerel feathers on his helmet, which was quite sort of flamboyant, and this was usually to help mark the difference in the units, and especially in the heat of battle you would quite easily see who is who. So these are looking pretty good, to be honest. So a standard Italian weapon. Flip that round there, you can see his Beretta 38 submachine gun, and he really is leaning in for a good shot there, that chap with the carbine. So he's wearing shorts, they're both wearing shorts, which would be appropriate. I did hear a report that the Italians did steal a lot of British uniforms, and especially popular with the shorts and things that the 8th Army would have worn. So in fact, there's even a report that a pilot flying over couldn't tell the difference between the forces fighting each other, so that's probably quite appropriate there. So bit of a mixed bag on the uniform front. On the reverse, nothing much to shout about. They're not going to be wearing much equipment. It is the desert after all, but you can quite clearly see there the water bottle, so that comes through quite well. The plastic is quite brittle, but it will take a little bit of punishment, but it is brittle. The stand is its usual strange design that Waterloo have. I'm not so sure it's going to hold up well when they're standing up. Definitely it's a flat surface that this base would pretty much do best on. Over here, and there's our guy throwing his grenade, which is more than likely to be a Model 35, and yeah, that's his carbine there. It does look quite short, so I would say it's a carbine. And here's our officer, and here's our machine gunner here. So the officer is wearing the officer's peak service cap, which is the tropical type, so it's got an extended peak coming through. His pistol is more than likely, the best I can do is a Beretta model 1935. Obviously the machine gun is the very sort of useful, it's not a bad little machine gun really, and that'll be the Breeder MG 1930 magazine fed. So I don't think, to be honest, you're probably going to spend most of your time changing that magazine, so how good and effective that weapon was, I don't know. He's obviously wearing a tropical helmet there, and that's normally caveated with the cockerel feathers as well, and that would be the M1935 tropical helmet. He's got a little satchel to the right of him, and that'll probably contain his extra magazines. Obviously a water bottle again. Officer is wearing the long boots, as I stated before, and they were quite popular just before they entered Egypt in the Abyssinian campaign. So that's fairly accurate. You'd probably just hang on to those boots anyway. And yeah, nice 3 buttons on the tunic, which is appropriate. That one will more than likely be the 1940 shirt with 3 buttons, so that'll be correct, I think. So basically what you get is ×2 of what's in front of you, so you'll get 2 lots of these frames, so not a massively great set in regards poses. So it's up to you whether you think this purchase is worthwhile. If I was probably you, I'd probably mix them up with the paratroop set. I mean, they did work alongside each other, so I don't see why that would be a problem, and that'll give you that just that little bit more variety. On the whole though, it is, I'd say it is a pretty good set, to be honest, and it's quite a good subject matter. Incidentally, lack of mobility really did stuff the Italians. They just didn't have the equipment the British had, which is part of the reason that they really struggled. So here's our grenade thrower, and there he is throwing his Model 35 grenade with his Carcano 1938 carbine and his cockerel feathers on his helmet there to just distinguish who he is and what side he's on. So that's quite a good pose, nothing wrong with that, and good detail on there, so reasonably happy with that. Base is a little bit wobbly, I have to say. So these are the guys off the sprue. That's the first one. Flip them round, and there you go, pretty plain on the back, but you don't expect him to have much kit on, and there he is with his water bottle. He's wearing his short hobnail boots, as what were de rigueur for the Italian infantry in the desert campaign. So next up is our submachine gun guy with his Beretta Model 38 submachine gun and his fez. Not a bad little weapon, and probably fairly useful in the desert and close combat. He is also wearing the 3-button tunic that was de rigueur over in the desert, and also the hobnail boots. You can see a bit of excess plastic just where the weapon meets his arm, so that would have to be drilled out. That's pretty standard with figures though, so I'm sure you'll all agree on that. Face comes through very well, and it's not a bad little figure. On the back, just a water bottle, and he's got some extra magazines just on his rear hip, so not too bad. Here's our guy taking a shot. Again, he's looking over the top of the rifle, almost like he's selecting a target. He's leaning in, and it's quite a good pose. I quite like that pose. So he's got a little bit of movement in there, even though he's just really standing, taking a shot. He's got enough in terms of detail on him, no problem there, and he's got a lovely bulge shown on his carbine. Standard M1933 Italian steel helmet. Ammunition pouches, nothing wrong with that. And that's him from the other side. Again, not carrying much equipment at all, just the necessary water bottle. That's our guy kneeling, taking a shot. Again, it's a slightly funny pose. The head is sort of lifted again up from the rifle. So he's not really taking a shot. Again, he looks like he's more looking over the barrel. But uniform's very, very accurate. Still again, the 3-button tunic, which is 4 pleated pockets. Rifle is again the Carcano 1938 carbine, and he's wearing his fez. Again, not much equipment, little bit of flash, but he almost looks like he's looking upwards here. So that's our 4 men that are on the sprue, and there's 2 lots of these, so that's 1 sprue, and there's another sprue of exactly the same. So here's our Italian officer with his lovely peak tropical hat, his Beretta pistol, and I've got that down as basically a 1935 model. His 4 pleated pockets, 3-button tunic, and long boots, which were used basically in the Abyssinian campaign, the Ethiopian campaign, just prior to the invasion of Egypt. So that was late 1930s, and he's stuck with his long boots. But yeah, not a bad little officer pose. So he's basically guiding the troops along. And that's the reverse. Nothing much more to say on that. It is accurate. He's got the tailback pleat on the jacket there as well, so that's very accurate. So here's our Breeder MG 1930 chap, and he's wearing his tropical sun hat. And no cockerel feathers on this sun hat. It's the M1935 tropical helmet. He's got a little satchel there for extra magazines on his machine gun. But yeah, it's a little bit sort of flashy. It's not amazing by any standard, but it'll do the job. He's got his goggles stuck on the side of his hat. And I'll just put him up that way so you can see he's still got the detail on the other side of the figure. So nothing skimped on there. Not a bad figure. So that's our 2 figures on the final sprue. And again, there's another duplicate sprue of those. So like I say, there's about 12 figures in total. So not a massive amount, and certainly by no means a massive amount of poses.
Lascio mamma la dolce casetta, la mia piccola bimba d'amor, ed afferro il destino che aspetta per segnare di gloria il mio cor, e nei petti, nel sangue di tutti, un sol grido l'impero